everybody, welcome back to Pyrography for beginners and beyond. Today we're going to have another look at our cloud series. Have one final little experiment and look at how we can create clouds with more depth and realism. As you can see, this picture has advanced a lot since you last saw it. Unfortunately, I haven't had as much time as I would like to have got this finished, but I just thought we'd touch today on a few things about how we can create clouds with more depth. And let's just take, for example, this was a cloud in the sky, and we'll go from there. I'm using my Optima medium space shader. I'm on heat setting 3, and we're on a piece of birch ply that's been sanded. So I want to have a little look and just show you from the experiments I've been doing, it is actually not that difficult to create clouds with depth. It's all to do with shading and adding depth underneath, like, you know, deeper into the recesses of a cloud. And I will show you how, by using the right heat and shading, we can actually create a cloud that looks like it has depth. Now when we think about clouds, are all fluffy and, you know, they've got different patterns where you can see faces in them and all sorts of matrixing. And all we do is we just push areas of the cloud back and bring other areas forward. So on my reference picture, this piece of cloud is actually has a bit of deeper darkness to it, where the cloud bank really sinks in deep to the cloud. So underneath the bit that you want to show as raised, we just go a bit darker, and we can follow that line as far as we want to go. You know, just with clouds, it's been a magical experiment where I've just been able to totally open my mind and free my mind and just see all my own shapes, because you're never gonna capture a cloud, especially of this image. You're not gonna capture every little detail spot on, so I've just used it as a reference and just built my own cloud bank off it. So with this actual stack, we've got like a front bit, then it tiers up through the stages, and this middle part here is sitting furthest forward. There's an edge to it, and it all sits as if it's nearer to the eye. So all around the edging of this cloud would need pushing back. This is where a bit of patience is required to find the right tones, but I'll just work away for 10 minutes and we'll see where we get to. You have to excuse me on the e-cig. Sorry, but do puff on the e-cig while I work. But I've really enjoyed this little experiment into clouds, and I feel now much more confident that I could create a really stunning bank of cloud with lots of depth to it. All it's taken is some patience as I searched for the right tones. And this was a ridiculously hard experiment to take on for like your first real proper adventure into creating a cloud bank. I couldn't have picked a harder reference picture if I tried. Remember, when we're looking to create something that is 3D, like three-dimensional, you know, everything's got, this cloud will have a side to it, won't it, and it'll go around the back, so we don't want it looking flat. That's one thing we don't want to do. We want it to look like there's real depth. As you can see with this bank here, it's already raising up. Just simply by adding darker tone underneath it. You know, and then you don't want it to be flat, so you put some lighter shading, just barely flicking it with my pen there, because I've got my pen set in at 3, which is like a medium hot, especially if you're using the tip of the pen, which I use most of the time. I use 3/4 tip or the side of the pen. The medium space shader, we never really use it as a flat iron. And I don't know if I've got a spare piece of wood. Let's have a look. I have here. If we used it as a flat iron, I mean, it's taken all the heat out of it at the moment, but it's not really the greatest thing to control your detail with, so a lot of pyrographers will use the edge and the tip of the pen because there's more heat and we can get more control. Much like just using a pencil, you know, with a tip, the sharp point of your pencil. But always look for opportunities to push things deeper and bring things nearer to the eye, and you'll find yourself, give yourself half an hour, and you'll start seeing all these different shapes in your mind's eye, and before you know it, you're away and you're flowing. And you could sort of like forget reference pictures because in your mind's eye, you're starting to create your own formation of cloud. As I always use reference pictures for what they are, just as a reference, just templating down a pattern, and then I do go off on my own adventures then, so I'm not like plagiarizing, I'm not copying anybody's work. It's my own original artwork. So as we can see, just get underneath certain areas of the cloud and then expand the darkness a little. To capture that greater depth. In this area around my reference picture was black. So I'm going to have to try and do some work with it to see if I can make that look right, because to me at the eye at the moment it just looks wrong. Hopefully I'll be able to repair it and do something with it. You can only go so far with your depth of shading before you start burning the wood, which is not what you want to do. You don't ever want to char the wood. Pyrography is all about kissing over the surface, gently heating the wood up to create your artwork on it, and then you will be amazed at the level of detail that some of the pyrographers can achieve. I mean, there's some in our pyrography group on Facebook, which is called Pyrography for Beginners and Beyond by Flames Pyro Art. We have some absolutely fantastic pyrography artists in there. And there's one I will give a shout out to, which is Pauline Jewett, I think is her surname. She is absolutely superb at pyrography. So if you head over to the Facebook group, just request to join. We've had to put a request to join thing on the group because we start getting stupid spam comments, you know, make a fortune, click here and we'll take all your money off you. You know, getting bombarded with ridiculous posts like that, so we had to close the doors, unfortunately. So in here it funnels. There's a higher bit, and then in the middle it goes deeper. Then if we think about, say, this dark edge of this band of cloud, it's not going to be flat again, is it? So we need to go from dark shading to blending a way out. To try and give it some sort of like fluffy look to it. That's the bit that takes time, is putting the steps in. We can really get some amazing depth going on. This will probably be the last episode of the cloud series. I think I pretty much covered most aspects of what you're looking to do. But we'll follow this front piece of cloud round. Sometimes you will need to turn your board. I know its line goes somewhere off up here. So I'm turning the board to burn in this direction, because if I burn from that side, then I'm sinking the piece of cloud that I want to sit forward. I'm sinking that in where I don't actually want it to sit forward. So I need to burn from the outside of that piece of cloud that's going to sit forward. You'll see as we go along, hopefully with this. And it is all just little dark patches here and there that can set your depth off. You know, the darker you go behind a piece of cloud, you can push it deeper and deeper. And hopefully there'll be quite a few new pyrographers coming along at Christmas. People getting pyrography sets. So we should get a new crop of pyrography artists coming along. And I look forward to meeting some of them in our pyrography group on Facebook as they get more into pyrography art and want to start learning more about how people achieve such detailed artwork with these heat pens. There's a couple of things you need to be a, well, not to say to be a good pyrography artist, but to help you with your pyrography, you need to have patience. If you're not naturally gifted at art, I mean, I've studied no art ever in my life. So that's why I'm slower probably than other pyrography artists, because some have studied art at college or university, whatever, of art degrees, and I've been doing art for many, many years with pencil art or painting, and so they can transfer their skills over to these heat pens, where I'm just a guy who just had a desire to try and become what the class as a master pyrographer. I'm not there yet. But every day of practicing is a step closer, and as the slogan says, every hour of burning is an hour of learning. So turn that board back round again now. And rework this area. Make sure we're still recording, because I don't know how much memory I've got left on my phone. I have to go through my phone periodically and delete videos and delete all my downloaded images and my studio creations, because I use an app called Studio to clear space out for new videos. There is no big fancy setup. Hopefully this final lesson will just show you how to create clouds. And then the clouds sat further back don't want to all be one shade. this darkening is like sort of getting in behind round the back of that front piece of cloud. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and make some sort of pattern in here. I can't just put a black blob, it's just going to look weird. But I'm nearly as dark as you can go. As you can see on some areas I'm as good as black. But that sort of sets a tone for all this bit to be darker than that area. If you want this bit to be sat further down and this bit raised up, then this all has to go darker than that to give the perception that this piece is funneling forward. I can just sit for hours and just play about with the heat, the shading and putting down, see what looks right, I'm not over committing myself at any point. That's a valuable lesson to learn with pyrography, is don't turn your heat up too high. New pyrographers, for some reason, they'll get the pen unit out, put it on full heat so it's glowing red, and start burning, and you've left yourself nowhere to go because you've gone to the darkest tone immediately. So you've left yourself no room for manoeuvre. Where just turn that dial down to a medium heat, so if something doesn't look right, you've still got shades you can go to correct what doesn't look right, what looks a bit weird. See, it's still recording at the minute. We're still good. A minute. And again, you see as you make your way forward to the wherever you call it the apex, or whatever the very highest point, you can still put little bits of detail in there. And so as you think about even this piece of cloud, because we don't want it to look flat, then we widen out our darkness, give it some sort of depth. And just make patterns up in your mind. You'll see I'll just keep going over and over the darker spots, looking to try and push them deeper. a piece like this would normally take me a couple of weeks, like a few hours sitting at a time, depending on whether I burn myself out on a piece. You can work on a piece for too long and sort of like burn yourself out and lose interest. But luckily, because I've been busy doing other things of late, I haven't burnt myself out on these clouds. Quite enjoyed being able to sit for an hour or two in silence, in peace, and just see what I can come up with. You could use the extra small space shader as well, you know, if you want to go into really minute detail on your clouds. The extra small space shader is another great tool that the Optima range does. The reason I picked the Optima as my pyrography unit of choice was partly due to referrals from other people. They said how good they were. You know, everyone said, you know, ask any Optima user, would they ever switch to anything else, and they'd all say no. You know, they're more than happy with the Optima. I was quite new to pyrography at the time. I looked at the range of pens the guy had. We had a really long chat about things I had no idea what he was going on about, but he seemed to know. And now over the time I've got to realise that there were lots of different pens you can use for lots of different jobs that make things easier. Like say this medium space shader, I wouldn't use it for writing. I could use it for writing if I wanted to, but I've got other pen tips that would make it a lot easier to do writing with. And the Optima, you'll find there's a pen tip for pretty much every job. And as far as I'm led to believe, they're all handmade by a guy in America. A lot of other pyrography manufacturers actually copy his inventions, his designs of pen tip. He just doesn't bother patenting them because it costs like tens of thousands of dollars or whatever to patent something. And then if you want to defend your patent, you've got to spend X amount of thousands more in the court. And it's just money the average person hasn't got. It's the only sort of people who defend the patents strongly are Disney. You start copying Mickey, Minnie Mouse, any Walt Disney product, and if you start selling it at enough volume, they will come after you aggressively and finish you. They will ruin you. So that is one to avoid. Do not mass copy anything from Walt Disney and make yourself, a nice income off it, because you will come onto the radar of the Walt Disney people and they'll come after you with all the lawyers, and next thing you know, you're in a world of trouble. Basically, all the money you'll have earned, they'll take all of that and some. They're pretty ruthless from what I hear. How long have we been going for? 49 minutes. We're going to do another 10 minutes. Hopefully this final chapter, excuse me with the smoke, it's just showing you how to add like banks of cloud within your cloud, cloud bits of formation, so you can create faces in the cloud like you could in real life. And it's all to do with just the variance in shading. Like here, I've got a dip going on. So there's my dark, like sort of crease. And then I have to blend my way out of that crease. And I can push it as deep as I want, I can go, the darker I go on the crease, I'll push it deeper in. Just try not to have all your clouds looking like they're all on one level, have subtle variances or even some stark variances in your shading. Like say here, you can go from the dark to light, which is a total contrast. So this piece will look like it's really standing forward. And then in other areas, you'll have a dark patch where your crease is. And you blend your way out of it. Trying to create the fluffy look. When I finish this experiment, I will have one final talk through of what I've done. See if I can explain it in better detail to you all. The steps I took, hopefully to get to something that looks halfway decent. I'm my own worst critic, as I'm sure we all are. We all look at our work and think, no, it's just not very good. We'll see what we come up with. So I shall end the session on that note. You've seen today how you can create different depths with your cloud. I mean, we can already see this piece of cloud is coming forward as we're setting, going around the edge of it, you know, and then, but inside of the cloud, there's many more little indentations and shapes going on, and you can just have fun with clouds. Honestly, it's one of the most therapeutic things you can wood burn. It's much like clothing. When you're doing clothing and you're adding creases and stuff to clothing, and you can just open your mind and just put what you want down. I will at some point, I'll draw a cloud in the sky, and I'll show you how to create depth with one of those at some point in the future. I just love tinkering away and just sit for hours and hours just seeing what you can come up with. See how far you can push yourself. Set yourself a ridiculously hard reference photo and take your time, and you will learn so much of it than doing an easy one. But you won't learn as much if you pick a difficult reference photo. You may not get it, you know, superbly spot on, but you'll learn so much from it that it'll be well worth your time and effort. Okay, so happy pyroing, everybody. Take care, have a great day. It's early morning here in the UK, waiting for the sun to come up. Enjoy your wood burning, and I will see you all soon in the next wood burning experiment. Okay, thank you for stopping by today. Good luck with your own cloud formations. They're not the devil that we think they are. They are actually quite easy once we get the basics of them down. Just spend that little bit of time, use the likes of a medium spear shader, a pointed shader, and you use the tip so you can get under the edge of a piece of cloud and just build your way up and build your shapes and your different depths of shading in there. Look for different heights, like over here we've got this piece, underneath it on this bank is a lower level, so it has to go a shade darker, and we just mess about with that and just keep tinkering and keep playing away until we come up with hopefully a really good looking cloud bank. Okay, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave me a like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment to let me know that you've watched right to the end. You know, let me know if people out there are actually watching and want to learn these things, or would rather me just put time lapses up of the whole of the wood burning. I mean, if you put a time lapse up, it's not really teaching you anything, is it? Yeah, you see it done in super fast time, but you learn nothing because the pen's going done. So I do these, I know they're quite long, hour-long sittings to try and give you some sort of insight as to what I'm doing. Okay, take care for now, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Have a great Christmas, but I will speak to you all before then, hopefully. Take care. Bye for now.